Good morning, sunshine. That's how Evelyn greeted her day. It didn't matter that she was alone in her cozy kitchen, pouring hot water over a teabag. That little phrase brought her comfort, and reminded her of her granddaughter Lily, who used to say it while bouncing on her couch during sleepovers. Lily was now 12 and living 2 states away. Busy with school, friends, and sports. The distance hadn't just grown in miles, it had started to creep into their conversations too. Evelyn noticed the phone calls were shorter. The texts came less often. And video chats? Well, those were squeezed between piano lessons and bedtime snacks. But Evelyn wasn't the kind to sit and mope. She had lived long enough to know that love wasn't about distance, it was about effort. And if effort could keep her close to her grandchildren, then she was ready to roll up her sleeves and try. So, with a biscuit in one hand and a plan in her heart, she made a decision. I may not be there in person, she whispered to her cat, Henry, but I'll be the kind of grandma they feel close to, even when I'm miles away. And just like that, a new chapter began. Tomorrow? She'd try something bold. But first, she'd write a letter. Evelyn sat by the window, the soft afternoon light spilling over her stationery box, an old floral tin she'd kept since the 1980s. Inside were cards with butterflies, lined paper with dainty borders, and envelopes that had a bit of a curl to them from time. She chose a sky blue card and picked up her favorite pen. Dear Lily, she began, I was thinking about you today. Do you still hum when you're doing your homework? You used to when we worked on puzzles together. As her pen danced across the paper, Evelyn found herself smiling. Letter writing had once been her way of keeping in touch with her sister overseas. It felt old-fashioned now, but in the best way. Personal. Thoughtful. Something you could hold in your hand and read again when the world felt a little too fast. She didn't just write about the weather or what she had for lunch. Evelyn shared memories, funny little stories, like the time Lily wore 2 different socks to school and declared it a fashion statement. She asked questions too. Nothing too big, just enough to let Lily know she was thinking of her. And at the bottom of the card, Evelyn added a little drawing of Henry the cat, wearing a tiny crown. Just a doodle. Something silly to make her granddaughter grin. The next day, she walked to the corner mailbox with a little more pep in her step. As the card slid in with a soft plunk, Evelyn felt it, connection. It wasn't instant like a text. But it was warm. It was real. And she knew, somehow, it would matter. A week after she mailed the letter, Evelyn sat in her living room, fidgeting with her reading glasses. She had just received a text from her daughter. Lily loved your letter, Mom. She laughed so hard at the cat drawing. Said she wants to write back this weekend. Evelyn's heart swelled. One letter, and already a spark. But she wasn't stopping there. She had a new idea. Something that made her a little nervous, and a lot excited. Henry, she said, adjusting the camera on her laptop, we're going to start our own video channel. Yes, you heard that right. Evelyn was going digital. Not a public channel, not the kind for strangers to scroll past. Just a private, shared space where she could upload short videos for her grandkids. It would be like little postcards, but in motion. She started simple. A 3-minute video of her baking cookies. Today's special, she said, facing the camera, chocolate chip with a sprinkle of cinnamon. Grandma's secret twist. She showed the process step by step, even wearing Lily's old apron that said, "Bake it, till you make it." At the end, she took a bite and gave a goofy thumbs up, flour dusting her nose. After she uploaded the video and sent the link, she waited. A bit nervous. Maybe this was too much. Maybe Lily wouldn't watch. But that evening, her phone buzzed. A message from her daughter again. Lily watched your video 3 times. She says she's going to make your cookies for her school bake sale. She wants to see more videos soon. Evelyn beamed. Who said distance had to feel so far? The first signs of spring had arrived. Evelyn stood on her porch, sipping tea and admiring the daffodils poking through the earth. The tulips weren't far behind. In years past, this was her favorite time to have Lily and her younger brother, Max, visit for garden days, what they called their little tradition of planting, digging, and laughing until their hands were caked in dirt and their hearts full of joy. But this year, there would be no spring break visit. Her daughter had called to explain it gently. Between school events, work schedules, and the rising cost of travel, it just wasn't possible. Evelyn had smiled and nodded, understanding. After all, she'd raised 3 children of her own. Life moved fast. She got it. Still, as she looked at the empty garden bed, she felt the sting of it. Later that afternoon, while trimming a few branches and humming an old tune from her childhood, Evelyn had an idea. Not a small one either, a full-grown, sun-kissed, big-hearted plan. She would share her garden virtually. Not just through one video, but through a weekly garden journal, sent to Lily and Max, where they could watch things grow. More than that, they could help make it happen. Back inside, Evelyn sat at her desk and typed a short email. Subject: Our Secret Garden. Hi sweethearts. I have a fun idea, and it starts with you. Since we can't be in the garden together this year, I thought we'd create our own long-distance garden. Every week, I'll send you a video or photo update of what's growing. But here's the twist: you'll help me decide what to plant next. Should we do strawberries or carrots? Sunflowers or snapdragons? Think of it as a choose-your-own-adventure garden. I'll even give you both your own little spots, and I'll name them Lily's Corner and Max's Patch. What do you say? Love always. Grandma E. The response came quickly. Max sent back a voice recording, his favorite way to communicate. I want pumpkins. So many pumpkins. Like, 1,000. And Lily typed back. I vote sunflowers. Tall ones. Let's make the garden wild and happy. Evelyn chuckled. Pumpkins and sunflowers, why not? She could already see it, a big orange patch beside a bright yellow row. Messy. Joyful. Just like childhood. She started recording her first garden journal entry that weekend. Hello Lily and Max, she greeted the camera, adjusting her wide-brimmed straw hat. Welcome to Grandma's Garden Journal, Week 1. Behind her, the soil lay freshly tilled, a little lumpy but ready. She knelt down and showed 2 handmade signs, one that read Lily's Corner, in swirly letters with painted daisies, and another, Max's Patch, featuring a cartoon pumpkin with sunglasses. This week, she said, holding up a packet of seeds in each hand, we're planting sunflowers and pumpkins, just like you asked. But I need your help naming the first sunflower. Should we call it Sunny, Goldie, or Tallulah? She winked. Let me know. And Max, don't worry. We'll find a way to fit 1,000 pumpkins. Somehow. At the end of the video, she added a surprise, Henry the cat, sitting inside a flower pot, blinking slowly at the camera. Henry's helping too. Well, mostly supervising. Evelyn emailed the video with the subject. Garden Journal Number 1, Meet Your Seeds. The project blossomed, literally and figuratively. Each week, Evelyn sent a new video or photo, showing the first green shoots pushing through the soil or the way a ladybug had landed on Max's pumpkin sprout. She included little nature facts, did you know sunflowers follow the sun, and asked questions that made the kids feel involved. What color should we paint the garden fence? Soon, Lily began replying with her own photos, drawings of what the garden might look like in full bloom. Max started sending sound effects to go with the garden, like frog croaks or wind noises he made himself. One day, Evelyn received a hand-drawn garden map from both of them, complete with secret tunnels and fairy houses. It wasn't just fun anymore. It was theirs. And every time she stepped into her backyard, she felt it, their presence. Not in the physical sense, but in the way her hands moved with more joy, planting not just seeds but connection. Then came a moment that caught her off guard. One morning, Evelyn checked her inbox and found a video attachment from Lily. The subject line read, "Grandma's garden, our turn." In the video, Lily stood in their apartment's small kitchen, holding a pot with a single sprout. "Hi Grandma. We planted a sunflower too. Max and I are taking care of it on our windowsill. We named it Tallulah. Just like we picked. We thought maybe our garden could grow with yours, even if it's just one plant." Evelyn watched it twice. Then a third time. She paused the frame on Lily's proud smile and Max waving a spoon like a shovel. Tears welled in her eyes, not from sadness, but from the sweetness of the moment. Because this was it. The proof. She was close to them. Not in miles, but in meaning. Later that day, she sat with her journal open, the sun setting beyond the trees. She scribbled a simple sentence at the top of the page. "Distance doesn't shrink love. It just asks it to grow in new ways." Then she drew a little sunflower beside it, petals full and wide. Tomorrow, she'd send a new video. The garden was ready to bloom again. Rain tapped softly against Evelyn's windows, the kind of rhythmic patter that made everything feel still and thoughtful. Outside, the garden was soaking up every drop, and inside, Evelyn sat curled under a knitted blanket, flipping through an old book of fairy tales she used to read to Lily and Max when they were little. She smiled as her fingers traced the worn cover. The Adventures of Whisper the Woodland Fox. It had been their favorite. Lily loved the magical forest and Max always laughed at the squirrel who wore tiny boots. It had been a while since she'd read aloud to them. Too long, in fact. But now that her garden idea had taken root and their connection felt warm again, she found herself wanting to reach out in another way. Reading had always brought them close, closer than screens and closer than words alone. And Evelyn realized something. She didn't need them to sit on her lap to share a story. She could record it. The idea gave her a burst of energy. She pulled out her phone, propped it against a stack of books, and practiced her best storytelling voice. "Tonight," she began, "we enter the Whispering Woods, where a curious fox finds a map to a place no one has ever seen." She paused now and then to show the illustrations, pointing out little hidden creatures and giving each character its own voice. She giggled when the squirrel with the boots appeared and made sure Max would hear her say, "Clippity-clop." Who knew Boots could make a squirrel this bold? She even added a quiet lullaby at the end, just like she used to when Lily was small and begged her to sing, softly now, "The Moon is High." When she finished the recording, Evelyn titled it, "Grandma's Bedtime Book Number 1, Whisper the Fox." And she emailed it with a simple message. "Hi darlings. Since I can't read to you at bedtime, I thought this might be the next best thing. Snuggle up, press play, and know I'm thinking of you. More stories to come. Love always. Grandma E." The response was quieter than usual, no instant email or voice message. But Evelyn knew life could be busy. She went about her weekend as usual, watering the garden, baking a batch of lemon muffins, even organizing her linen closet for no real reason at all. Then, on Sunday night, the message came. It was from her daughter. Subject: "You made bedtime magical. Mom. I just had to tell you, your story brought tears to my eyes. We played it for the kids before bed." Lily curled up with her blanket and Max wouldn't stop laughing at the squirrel. Afterward, Lily whispered, "It felt like Grandma was here." Max asked if you'd send another one tomorrow. "Thank you. Truly. Love. Anne." Evelyn read the message 3 times, each time slower than the last. It wasn't just that her story had made them smile. It was that it had wrapped around them, like a hug from across the miles. And it had reminded them, even if only for a few minutes, that Grandma was never too far away. That night, Evelyn sat down and made a list, her favorite childhood stories, a few poems she thought Lily might enjoy, and even an idea to make up her own tale, one where the heroes were named Lily and Max. But more than that, she thought about what these little gestures meant. They weren't grand. They weren't flashy. They were gentle moments of love. Moments that said, I see you. I remember. And I care. The next recording came 2 days later. Hello my nighttime explorers, Evelyn said, sitting in her living room with soft lighting and Henry curled beside her. Tonight's story is about a brave little owl who learns to listen with more than just her ears. She read slowly, letting her voice rise and fall like the wind in the trees. When she got to the part where the owl faced her biggest fear, a thunderstorm, Evelyn paused. Then she added her own touch. When you feel scared, she said gently, just remember what the little owl did. She looked for someone kind, someone safe. And even if that person is far away, like Grandma, they're still with you. In your heart. She signed off the video the same way every time now. Sweet dreams, my darlings. I love you to the moon, and back. And with that, she clicked send. By the end of the month, bedtime with Grandma had become a tradition. Evelyn's daughter told her that the kids even set up their own Grandma Story station, complete with pillows, a flashlight, and a stuffed animal audience. Sometimes, they rewatched the same story 2 or 3 nights in a row. And Evelyn started adding special notes at the end of each video, asking them what kind of story they wanted next. Do you like dragons or dolphins? She'd ask with a wink. Should the next hero fly, or swim? Max requested a pirate chicken. Lily wanted a tale about a girl who built her own treehouse. And Evelyn, notebook in hand, happily obliged. One afternoon, while watching birds from her sunroom, Evelyn had a quiet realization. This was more than staying close. This was building something lasting, a collection of memories, stitched together with stories, laughter, and that simple kind of magic only a grandmother could give. She might not be there to tuck them in each night. But her voice? Her heart? They were right there, inside each story. And that was enough. For now. Lily's birthday was coming up. 13, a brand new chapter. Evelyn couldn't believe how quickly time had passed. It felt like only yesterday she was tying Lily's shoelaces and tucking in bedtime bears. She wouldn't be there for the party this year. But she had something else planned, something more personal than a package or card. Evelyn worked for days, collecting clips from their garden videos, bedtime stories, and handwritten notes Lily had sent over the years. With her daughter's help, she created a short video montage titled 13 Years of Lily, A Grandmother's Love Story. The video opened with baby Lily's giggle, a clip and had shared years ago, followed by photos of garden days, whispered lullabies, and birthday candles from past parties. At the end, Evelyn's voice appeared softly over a field of sunflowers. No matter how tall you grow or how far you go, you'll always have a place in Grandma's heart. Happy birthday, my darling girl. When Lily saw the video, she cried happy tears. It was the best gift she received that year. Evelyn missed writing by hand. Though the bedtime videos and garden journals had brought them closer, she longed for something tangible, something the children could hold, tuck under their pillows, or stick to their wall. So, she began a new tradition, seasonal postcards. Each one was carefully chosen: autumn leaves, winter snow scenes, spring blossoms, summer sunsets. On the back, she'd write a memory, a question, or a silly joke. One card read: Do you think Henry would like wearing mittens? Because he refuses to come outside when it's cold. Another said: The leaves are falling fast here. Do you still like jumping into leaf piles? Lily kept her postcards in a little box beside her bed. Max taped his to his door like badges of honor. They weren't just pieces of paper. They were reminders that Grandma was always thinking of them. Even on ordinary days. It was Max's idea. After helping his mom bake a pie using Grandma's cookie video, he asked, "Can Grandma send us more recipes?" Evelyn was delighted. She began filming short, cooking with Grandma, clips, chocolate muffins, cheesy biscuits, even a Sunday stew. Each video came with step-by-step instructions and fun kitchen trivia. "Did you know the first pancakes were made over 30,000 years ago?" she asked in one video, as Henry meowed in the background. The kids started their own weekend tradition, Saturday cook-alongs with Grandma. Aprons on, flour flying, laughter echoing through the kitchen. Sometimes, the cookies came out burned. Sometimes, they forgot an egg. But every time, it felt like Grandma was right there beside them. Because in the messiness of batter and spilled sugar, love was quietly rising. The holidays came with twinkling lights and the familiar ache of distance. But Evelyn had a plan. Instead of presents, she created a 12 Days of Grandma box, 12 envelopes, each with a note, a memory, or a tiny challenge. Day 1, draw a picture of our garden. Day 4, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Day 8, bake something and share it with someone. Inside the last envelope was a special surprise, a letter inviting them to a live video call where Evelyn would lead a virtual carol sing-along with Coco, cookies, and Henry dressed, reluctantly, in a Santa hat. On Christmas Eve, they all gathered on screen. The laughter, the music, the stories, it didn't matter that they weren't under the same roof. What mattered was the warmth they shared. Evelyn went to bed that night with a heart so full, it spilled into her dreams. Time kept moving, as it always does. Lily got taller. Max got louder. The garden grew and withered and bloomed again. Evelyn's hair turned a little grayer, and her hands worked a little slower. But something beautiful had happened. They were close. Not because they lived nearby. Not because they saw each other often. But because they made time. They shared memories. They built traditions. Through letters and videos, stories and sunflowers, recipes and postcards, they built a bridge. A sturdy one. Strong enough to hold all the love they poured into it. One afternoon, Evelyn sat on her porch, holding a new card in her hand. It was from Lily. The handwriting was neat, thoughtful. Dear Grandma. I know I'm older now. I have a lot going on. But I just wanted you to know. I still watch your bedtime videos sometimes. Especially on hard days. Your voice helps. It always has. Thank you for never giving up on staying close to us. You taught me what real love looks like. Always your Lily. Evelyn folded the letter carefully and placed it in her keepsake box. She looked out over her garden, now filled with tulips, pumpkins, and the tallest sunflowers she'd ever grown. And she smiled. Because distance might stretch across states, miles, or years. But love? Love, she had learned, always finds a way.